Right, evening everyone. We're looking at Learning Unit 3 tonight, and we'll go through some of the pertinent bits. You'll see that I'm on News 24 Business. I'm a subscriber to News 24, but that's just simply because of setting exams for a lot of the honors and postgraduate diploma subjects. But it's quite interesting when we look at some of these articles here, how they relate to what we're going to do today. Now, I'm not going to worry too much about some of these, but the first one that we mentioned, and we're going to go briefly back to the very first learning unit we looked at, and you'll see I uploaded this article today. Who spotted what this was about? Oh no, this is for today's one. I didn't even get that right. Oh my word, I am so dumb. You'll see today the Discovery Bank one. Yeah, you can see I did this in a hurry. You'll see today we'll talk about product development. So in terms of product development, it is the idea that Discovery has added constantly new products to their profile and their portfolio. We know they started off as a medical aid, and they've evolved into a bank and credit cards and a range of other features. I mean, they're always at the edge of innovation, and now obviously the Discovery Bank element rolling out home loans, and it's interesting in terms of where they are. So from a corporate strategy, from a grand strategy perspective, we would talk about them as doing product development, and we'll see in a second. And I think this is also one that you guys would have discussed in your assignment. The second one that I picked up today was this one here. These are wonderful articles from first semester. You know, the idea of Lego just dropping plastics, and you guys would have learned about sustainability, etc. This we'll talk about when we get to Learning Unit 4. This is wonderful for Learning Unit 5. Rupert Murdoch in his 90s, finally stepping down, and what will happen to the Murdoch empire. Interesting reading, and some of the concerns that will unfold, because already, you know, people are getting a little bit shaky about that. And then, guys, so if we then look at some of these other articles also for Learning Unit 5, and then I think the key one is also around Learning Unit 4. Please have a look at the coal miner for Learning Unit 4. And then we'll also see additional ones. Now, I want to spend a bit of time on this one here, and we'll get to it in a second, which is also part of what we're going to look at tonight in terms of grand strategies or corporate strategies. It is, depending on where you look at it, but it is going to be a form, knowing what I know about Bidvest, of horizontal integration. And all of you should know what these are, because you would have already read about these in terms of your bits that you're reading for your assignment. And then there are other bits and pieces that we look at. You'll see for Learning Unit 4, the Standard Bank one we'll look at again. And there's one more. This is a very interesting one in terms of Learning Unit 4, the Aspen one. But guys, please, 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 this one I wanted to look at specifically as well. Time Bank, and we won't discuss it now, but it also is part of a product development diversification strategy, because it's more diversification now. It's on the basis of how they're doing it, it's related diversification, and we'll spend a bit of time on this. Now, I know it's a bit of a different introduction to what we're doing, what we do normally, but I just thought that I'm struggling with another course and another, I'm going to use the word level that I teach at, and it's the level after this. And it's the notion that all we do at Varsity College is that we're a bunch of theorists. And the simple truth is, guys, I think the worst thing I could ever imagine to be is a theorist. The best I could ever be, I consider myself at best a blue collar academic, because the truth is, if this doesn't live in the real world, why teach it? And for me, part of what you need to do for your assignment is to integrate theory and application. And I'm hoping that everyone has got that. And based on what we're going to look at today, we'll be able to do that in your final touch assignment. Okay, is everyone okay with this so far? It's and I really am not a traditional academic, guys. I don't live, I hate the idea of working and living in the world of theory. So there is the introduction, and you'll see I spoke about a couple of those already in the articles that I used to open the discussion. Sorry, guys, I'm getting tons of messages through my WhatsApp. And you'll see there the organic growth. We'll look at that. It's where you stay within the confines of your business, where you try and limit your risk. Market development, where you use existing products and services and grow new markets. Product development, I think this is the stuff that you guys would have been writing about in your assignment. Related and unrelated diversification. Related diversification is where you stay with your existing technologies. Unrelated diversification is where you move away from your core business. And then we'll look at the turnaround and managing the end game strategies. I gave two examples of those in terms of the Sabanya examples that I had sent through in today's notice. Right, so let's look at corporate level strategy. Essentially, this happens at the highest level. Now, I want you guys, while you're online, to do me a very, very quick favor, and for literally a minute on your phones, because I don't want to lose you on the call, is quickly search Tata Global and look at the number of industries that Tata Global is involved in. TATA, Tata Global. Very, very quickly, Tata Global. The thing we think only manufactures cars. I'll do the same this side. Let's search Tata Global and look at the different divisions. We'll just go divisions. You'll find it very quickly. The first person to find maybe search Tata Group, guys. Oh, my line is so slow. What is going on? Right, and there is Tata, Tata.com. Now we can look at it together, or you can go in there and look at the different divisions. Go and look at the different divisions that they're involved in. Showcase, thanks, Werner. I knew someone would get it. You're a star, boy. Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. That's the one. Stop scrolling. Okay, have a glance into each of those, guys, and we can chat about it, and then you can tell me where you're surprised, where you're not surprised, what you knew, what you didn't know. And I can tell you now, you know very little about Tata, because all we think is that they're a bunch of rubbishy cars. There's not Tata much chance, okay, Cabello? Have a glance at their different divisions. I'd like to hear at some of those that you are surprised at. Did it take you that long to realize, Cabello? I'm so horrible. Was that because of how surprised you are? Was it the Tata chance? That's horrible, Cabello. You should report me immediately. Which of those are you surprised at, guys? That's because I'm old, but it's because I'm old. Guys, everything from hotels to IT, high-end IT, and it's high-end hotels, to tea farms, to steel works. At some point, they even ran and were in charge of running the official Indian airline, but that was nationalized. Tea farms, guys, tea farms. Travel. Which of these have surprised you guys? I need to hear something from you at least. Finance, yeah, absolute boy. They're a multi-billion company. Food, 100% involved in food and beverage, yeah. We know about the cars. We know about the steel. My biggest surprise initially was the tea farms, Tata Salt. They own a huge amount, there it is, Tata Tea, and apparently a very, very good tea. And I think they're responsible for Tetley's tea in South Africa. I think one of my students told me that because Tetley's is her favorite. Tata Travel, guys. It's astonishing. Now imagine being the CEO of Tata and trying to create synergy between all of those different divisions. How do we define the term synergy? Please have a look at this afterwards and have a glance at how impressive Tata actually is. How do we actually define synergy? What is synergy? I'll give it to you mathematically. It goes 1 plus 1 equals, come on, I've got a double equal 3. Oh my word, I've got a plaster on my finger so I can't type. 1 plus 1 equals 3. Why is that synergy? Why not 2? I prefer if you guys talk to me. This typing annoys me. 1 plus 1 equals 3. Why 3? Oh my gosh, guys. Synergy, and you can write this down if you want, because the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. The whole is greater than the sum of its parts. So if we look at some of the multi-divisional, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. That's exactly it, Cabello. So when we think of examples of synergy right now, look at the Red Bull racing team, the Red Bull GP Formula One team. Just astonishing. You know, the engine, the way their synergy ties together, an astonishing example of what synergy is. So synergy is pulling together the different elements in an organization and getting the whole being greater than the sum of its parts. Give me examples of multi-divisional organizations in South Africa. Um, well, the one that I'm thinking of offhand would be Walmart, Massmart. So if you look at Massmart, the different divisions under Massmart, let's just go there. So if we go to Massmart, remember, and it's a little bit different because Walmart now owns the majority share of Massmart. They own 51%. I don't know who's under RCL, but I think they're a multi-dimensional organization where there they are, their brands. So if we look there, so there is a nice example of multi-divisional, a multi-divisional corporate, and it's quite easy to see how they can SAB. What are the different divisions under SAB? You see, I'm trying to stretch my imagination into the divisions. RCL, possibly. Let me just look at RCL here. Hold on. Edcon is a nice example as well. RCL. I see RCL Foods. You see, oh no, they've got brands. You're right, Blair, but I want to see if they are just brands in terms of food or. I know, yeah, but I don't know if they're different divisions and we would have to look at their structure, but that's RCL for you. SAB, DOP, not DOP. DOP, not DOP. I don't know if they divided it like that. Imagine how simple life would be, boy. Guys, there is a nice example of Massmart. It's quite easy to see how they can create synergy. There's logic, there's a link that somehow meshes those together. I don't know what Shield is, but obviously I don't deal with that. I've never been inside a jumbo, to be honest with you. Builders I'm aware of. I sometimes shop there. I don't shop at Game. I don't particularly like shopping at Game. I mostly, if not all the time, go to Macro. But you can see the different divisions there, and each of those divisions would serve a different customer base. The other one that is interesting to look at is Edcon. Edcon, who used to be in serious trouble and are now turning a corner. Where is Edcon head office? Oh my gosh, can you believe that? Oh my word, Edcon. Yeah, imagine trying to find the Edcon site. Okay, that's wonderful. And then you don't go to the website when it takes you to Edgar's. Yeah, best not to look for Edcon. Ignore that. I'll delete it out of the recording. But there is a nice example of a multi-divisional organization in South Africa. So when we look at where these corporate level strategies fit in, these are the questions that we would ask ourselves. What businesses, what do we specialize in, where are our core competencies, and then it's the vision and those kinds of things. The simple truth is these here decide the way we compete within an industry. This essentially would indicate the kinds of businesses overall we're in. So if we think of this from a business unit strategy, you'll see that each of these business units compete at a slightly different level. I think Jumbo and Shield would be far more low cost. Builders would be slightly more differentiated. I remember we're looking at Learning Unit 1 stuff. I don't shop at games, so I can't really, well, value-added services would suggest that they're more differentiated or best value. For me, macro is the best value out of the three. I don't want to spend time discussing that. So if we look at the different strategies, so your organic growth strategies, market penetration is where we have existing products. We don't want to expose ourselves to too much risk, and we just pump adverts. It's about pumping adverts because we do not have a fully saturated market at this stage. Guys, can you think of organizations where that are operating in this area that in recent times have just been advertising to try and attract additional customers, that have realized that there is this unsaturated market? Where they've just been just adverts and reminders and reminders and more reminders. You know, I think so many organizations are so desperate because of where we are economically to just try and get, Mvoyo, I was thinking that as well. ShopRite, I see so many adverts going out and so much spam coming through in terms of social media. Consolidation is where you're starting to slowly, I like to refer to those as hold and maintain strategies. You are in a stable base. You don't want to push your luck. You just want to stay where you are. It's often in the kinds of economic situations we face now, and it is really about just fit for purpose. So you're constantly making sure that you fit for purpose. You tweaking, you make sure that you survive. You wait for the next economic upturn. Your growth strategies are those, and we'll discuss those in relation to the articles, and then we'll talk about integration, and then the not so great part of the corporate strategies when we have to start retrenching and we start talking about the end game. Okay, I'm not going to go through that one, so let's look at this one. So guys, market development, new markets for existing products. We've seen several South African organizations leave our shores in the last 10, 20 years. We know that Netcare hospitals are now in a lot of the Arab nations. We know that Southern Sun is in a lot of overseas nations. We know that Standard Bank has gone into Africa. We know that Nando's is in the UK. We have lots of examples of where you have a good product, you have a good brand, and you have a good reputation. So you use that and you use existing products in new markets. So you move into different markets. Product development. So it's the idea of modifying or creating new products. Modifying products is often when, and I'm going to go to motor vehicles again, when you have your facelift just prior to the launch of a new model. So we've seen several facelifts happen. It's quite interesting to see with the Toyota Buckies now that both Ford and Volkswagen had launched their new vehicles a while ago already, and now Toyota is creating additional engines, additional bling that they put onto their Bucky to try and make it relevant. And I still think Toyota Buckies are the top sellers in the country in terms of that kind of double cab market. So that kind of facelift where you modify. The creating new products comes to this one. Um, it's an interesting one. Now we have to decide: is it diversifying, or is it product development? In my mind, this one here, yeah, that one there. Sorry, this is now taking a moment. Oh my word, this is slow. So this Discovery Bank already has an array of products available. So for me, this is product development. It is an interesting one that they've moved into the home loan sector. Oh, absolutely, Cabello. Mahindra is a really good vehicle, and farmers default to Mahindra now, and it's the value for money. We also cannot forget what Haval has done in that sector. I can't see myself in a Haval or a Mahindra, but you definitely people that aren't brand loyal. Yeah, people who aren't brand loyal have gone there. My neighbor across the road bought one of the Havals, and but he bought the top of the range one, and he's very impressed with it. It's not something I would buy. I buy Volkswagen and have driven Volkswagen for 30 years and seem to not be able to move away from it. But if you're able to move away from your brand, Mahindra is a really good option. Guys, Discovery Bank. Anyone with Discovery Bank? Anyone with Discovery Health? Discovery Health, Discovery Bank. Deanne, with Discovery Bank as well, or just with Discovery Health? Very impressed. What do you think of Discovery Bank? Bank Cabela, what do you think of the bank? Amazing. Cost-wise, Deanne? Seriously, Deanne, I've been a private banker now with a Standard Bank for the last 30 years at least. No, that's maybe exaggerated. How old am I now? Yeah, no, yeah, 30 years. My costs per month are ridiculous. I have a really good private banker, I have to admit that. But I love that. So you get paid for managing, or you save money for managing your money well. Oh, I see, Deanne. See, to me, that's simply just what innovation is. That is what innovation is, and that's where I love Discovery. It's interesting. Would you guys go with their bank loan, obviously, as well? Oh, without a doubt, Deanne, without a doubt. Look at this. Yeah, it's wonderful. And I love terms like home ecosystem. And when I read articles like this, you can almost taste the culture of what Discovery stands for, and few people actually capture the essence of what they stand for in terms of the words and their advertising, as well as Discovery does, and they live that culture. Absolutely love, and we'll talk about culture again in Learning Unit 5 and Learning Unit 6. Sometimes people don't get culture, but I've come down to that ecosystem thing. It is just exactly, again, Discovery reminding us what their culture is. It's an astonishing concept, and how they've taken that innovation into banking. Absolutely love that. Okay, guys, so in terms of this one here, when we look at product development, new products, so now we have a full suite of products from Discovery Bank. Key in terms of that is research and development. And the one thing we can never fault Discovery on is that they arrive unprepared. Nothing is ever slapdash. Nothing is ever ill-prepared. Nothing is ever half thought through. Nothing is ever just thrown on the table and let's hope that we can convince almost naive customers to fall for our horse manure. They expect their customers to be bright. They expect their customers to go into the finer details, and they expect their customers to expect a lot from them. And that's what makes Discovery this impressive company. Guys, the second one that we want, or the next one we want to look at, is diversification. Now, related diversification is where you stay with your core business. And then often staying with your core business is about staying with your core technologies. So you move maybe into another industry, but you stay with your core business. You stay with the essential features, with the essential technologies of your core business. So you will often try and attract the same kinds of customers. Now, to default to where my master's and my PhD were the auto industry. If you think of motor cars, BMW transitioned from cars comfortably and built motorcycles. VW, believe it or not, at some point built a motorcycle, which is hard to imagine. VW motor, I don't think it's still around, motorcycle. But remember when VW launched the Amarok, yeah, the Ducati I was going, there's the VW motorcycle, guys, not really for me. And then I was going to use Ducati, well done, Boyo, Ducati, and yeah, so Ducati brand, you know what Ducati is. If you follow Formula GP or GP racing, you'll know that they're unbeatable on track. And then yeah, is there a Ducati car? What is the Crossbow? I can't remember whether it's the Crossbow. No, it's not Ducati, boy. It's KTM. It's the KTM. KTM. Sorry, you've now confused me. It's the KTM Crossbow. So KTM Crossbow, I'm pretty sure that's the one. Yeah, there it is. So KTM used to build us motorcycles, and then KTM, by staying with their core technology, built us that absolute beauty. It is just an astonishing example of what a track car can be. And now look how tiny that stupid thing is. Where are my images? Sorry, guys, I'm nerding out here, but it is an amazing little, and you can see there's the road going version. Yeah, I'm having a moment. But you guys also know that KTM sponsors this wonderful guy. If you don't know who he is, shame on you. Who knows who Brad Binder is? Guys, who is Brad Binder? Oh my word. You better say something. The rest of you minus 50% on your next assignment. Just remember, guys, of course, but you must watch MotoGP. And it's here. Oh my word. The rest of you, I'm going to see who's here, take a picture of it and make sure I deduct marks. Deanne, minus 20%. Tibojo, Cabello, Nomvuyo, Pam. Good luck on passing your assignments. Okay, guys, in terms of related diversification, the example here You better go look it up, Pam. I'm now warning you. This is now an official threat. It's not even a warning anymore. This is now a bloody threat. In terms of related diversification, I think this fits in there perfectly. Time Bank, who knows about Time Bank? Anyone with Time Bank? It's quite interesting. Several of my students are with Time Bank, but I'm talking about my full-time students, kids in their early 20s. This is a bank, guys. This is now a very different bank. It's an online bank. It doesn't have physical places where you go to. It's a very, 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 very different world. But look at this as an offering. They're moving into, and it's a low-cost bank. It revolutionizes banking, and they're growing banking. But they're using their existing technology to move into. Yeah, that's it, Pam. Well done. I didn't know that actually. But Time Bank now, in terms of related diversification, has moved into medical insurance. But guys, look at that. Now, I'm not somebody who gets too excited until I've checked how it pans out. They might cover a left toe on your right foot for all we know. But that's not bad. That's not bad, guys. And then you can also see they've launched a credit card that would be related. That would be product development for them. My apologies. And then the medical insurance would be related diversification. Please have a glance at that article as well. It's a wonderful example of how the stuff we discuss here is not some horse manure theory that some person wrote somewhere and some idiot put on the slides. Okay, so we see these things evolving in the news all the time, and what I hope you guys do is start looking at at the news slightly differently and say, oh no, that's related, that's unrelated. Mind you, I sound like the nerd I really am, sadly. So unrelated diversification, you don't know this industry, you move into a completely different industry. I always think of Virgin. When you think of Virgin, and I think you guys know why the name Virgin was selected, because every time they go into a new industry, they virgin to that industry. And Richard Branson essentially is very good at unrelated diversification. I mean, started off as a student newspaper, then had, I think, a record store, and then had an airline, and then had gyms, and now has Virgin at what space? I don't even know what it's called, Virgin Atlantic or something. I'm not sure. But the simple truth is, if we think of a company that has thrived on unrelated diversification, it is Virgin, and the name Virgin because they knew at everything they try. And if you ever get a moment, go and look at how unrelated Virgin's businesses are, much like Tata. I mean, Tata is an example of a company that has moved into several unrelated fields through the process of unrelated diversification. Guys, in terms of integration, yeah, so the two options that we have vertical and horizontal integration. Horizontal integration is where we take over a competitor. We've had several examples of that over time. Oh my gosh, there's so many alternatives, but and again, this is a very old example, but it's one of my favorite because it destroys the image that people have of Lamborghini. But the only reason the Audi R8 could ever be launched is because BMW bought a Lamborghini, and most of the components used in the Audi R8 came from the Lamborghini. And now, essentially, when you drive a Lamborghini, a lot of the components are borrowed from Audi, because it's TFSI technology, etc. But I mean, a Lamborghini is still a Lamborghini. You're not going to ever take away from that brand name. So we often see companies buy each other out. It's competitors buying competitors in order to access technology, in order to access new markets. Anheuser-Busch, the biggest brewer in the world, bought the second biggest brewer in the world, which was South African Breweries. It was the biggest sale ever. So I don't think South African Breweries belongs to us anymore, guys. Sadly, it actually belongs to Anheuser-Busch. So it's two competitors buying each other out. Volkswagen bought Porsche. Volkswagen's bought everyone, guys. If you ever see who Volkswagen owns, you'll be completely and utterly shocked. Everyone owns everyone else nowadays. So horizontal integration, buying competitors. Often in South Africa, if you want to purchase a competitor, what will happen is that the competitions board would step in, because it's all about avoiding monopolies, because we know how effective monopolies are. Ask Eskom. Guys, so here, Bidvest, one of the areas that they're involved in, sorry, I do subscribe to it. I don't know why I'm not signed in. But Bidvest has bought another cleaning business, and we know that Bidvest, they provide cleaning at all our varsity colleges. So they've purchased another cleaning business. It's just another example of horizontal integration. Okay, I can close that. Now we can find more articles. Here, backward vertical integration, where you ensure a smooth supply in terms of furniture. We know that Geely, who, well, let's link that back. We know that Tata bought, Tata owns Range Rover and Jaguar. Geely bought Honda from Ford a long time ago now. Geely also, the Chinese manufacturer, manufactures Volvo, which we think of as a Swedish brand, but it still maintains the Swedish quality. They bought a whole bunch of component manufacturers in Australia to secure a decent supply into the future. Forward integration is where you open a website, or where you buy an intermediary. We know that Ola Ice Cream, a long time ago now, bought all the Milky Lane. So when you go to Milky Lane, you get Ola Ice Cream. So all of these examples live in the real world on a daily basis. And all you need to do, if you want to find examples, is just read the news, subscribe or look at News 24. So in terms of the corporate combination strategies, joint ventures, where people join up, add together skills to enter new markets. What's the difference between a joint venture and a strategic alliance? What is the difference between a joint venture and a strategic alliance? You should know this, guys. Oh my word, who's online? Let me take a picture and take more marks off. Remember, a joint venture creates a new business. Yes, that's well done, Werner. A joint venture creates a new business. A strategic alliance is temporary. Okay. Yeah, well done, Boyo. Well done. Guys, we see lots of joint ventures. I keep defaulting to cars, my apologies, but the biggest joint venture at the moment in vehicles is between Toyota and between Suzuki. You'll see Suzuki's with Toyota badges on, and Toyotas with Suzuki badges on. It's going to be very interesting going forward, considering that in South Africa, Toyota is our #1 seller and Suzuki is our #2 seller. And I think what they're doing is creating a strategic alliance, and there I go make the mistake now confusing the two. But I think what Toyota and Suzuki are doing is they are creating a monster. So there is a strategic alliance, particular in South Africa. Have a glance. You'll see lots of Suzukis with Toyota badges on now. And they even build Suzukis in Suzuki factories, and they shove Toyota badges on them, in particular at the entry level of the vehicle brands. Guys, defensive strategies. Now, often when we get defensive strategies, it's when an organization has a lot of weaknesses and it's facing a lot of threats. And instead of duking it out and losing money and going under and taking everything down, you start retreating. And the only way you survive is to start repurposing, start right-sizing, start becoming fit for purpose. It's starting to reconsider what your role is. Now, there are a couple of things that you can look at. The first one, turnaround strategies. The key thing about a turnaround strategy is that it's short-term. So here it is, what can we do immediately to get us out of our immediate headache? Sometimes it's about laying people off, so putting people on unpaid leave. It could even be about canceling contractors and insourcing rather than using contractors. There's several options available. It is often a short term, what do we do to keep the doors open? Retrenchment strategy, there are two options. A cost-cutting strategy, so getting rid of non-essential items. So you start looking at your core business and you get rid of those kinds of things that aren't profitable, that don't contribute to your core business, that become a drain on the operations. You introduce productivity. You improve productivity by introducing automation. You automate several things. You postpone projects so you don't have capital investments. You start re-looking at paying debt off over a longer period, and you stop purchasing. So you start leasing. They're reducing non-core assets. So you sell land that doesn't really link to your core business, that doesn't link to your strategic future, and then also you start refocusing on the bits that are in your mission vision. Recovery, this often is when you bring in a brand new person. We saw in terms of Walmart and Massmart, and if you want to read up on it, it's the guy they brought in from America, Mitch, oh my gosh, I can't type, Mitch Slate. He came in and he was the supposed efficiency expert, and his job was to turn around particularly Massmart, and then in particular they closed down Dion Wyatt. Some of you might not even have ever heard of Dion Wyatt, and they reduced the number of stores. They reduced some of the pure food outlets in Africa. And I think what has happened now with the macros and the games and those kinds of companies is that they are surviving now. I don't think that Walmart's impact was that significant in South Africa. When I heard that their massive buying power was coming, I really thought it would shake up prices, but I've not seen any evidence of that. Revenue growth strategy. So it's these kinds of price wars that we see now. Pick and Pay have become so arrogant. I've stopped shopping at Pick and Pay. If you want to, and I feed an entire tribe of people, or at least I have a 17-year-old that eats as if he's a tribe of people. And trust me, guys, when 17-year-olds gym, when you just have to be 17, you don't even have to gym, they eat. So essentially, I'd rather shop at Woolworths and get decent food and then go shop at Checkers. I refuse to shop at Pick and Pay nowadays. I find them incredibly expensive. And the reasons is that Woolworths for me is now cheaper than Pick and Pay, and Checkers is very good value for money. I don't know whether you guys agree with that, because both of them have adopted this revenue growth strategy. Pick and Pay have just become arrogant, in my opinion. Any comments on that? Guzzle. Yeah, I used to get Guzzle, Pam, and I must admit I haven't had Guzzle in ages. I need to start doing that again. And truthfully, I shop for specials. My wife doesn't cook, so I do all the cooking in the house, which means I do all the shopping in the house. So I need to guzzle again. I need to start guzzling again. You're absolutely right. Guys, and then divestiture, yeah, this is where you start selling off parts of your business. You start selling off parts of your plant. You start selling assets to get money, and you start finding a niche where you're still making money. And then the difficult bits, guys, selling the business, liquidation, and the one you want to avoid is bankruptcy. Okay. The role of the corporate parent, guys, I'd like you guys to read these ones yourself. I would be very disappointed if they asked us these. I want to finish off just in terms of the BCG, the Boston Consulting Group matrix. What the Boston Consulting Group says is that you divide your businesses into 4 regions depending on 2 options: the growth rate of a particular industry and the market share that you own within that industry. So let me go back to that one. So in terms of here, this would be an industry with a high market growth rate and you own a massive market share. This would be an industry with a high market growth rate, but you own a low market share in that. This is a low growth industry, the cash cow, but you have a massive market share. So it's often things that the late adopters are still guzzling up, and this would be a low growth rate market, and you have low market share, your dogs, and those are the ones you sell off. So in terms of the options, this is where you invest your money because that's where your strategic future is. The money from your cash cows go there, all your R&D, all your focus. It's part of your core business. Your stars essentially are stars for a reason. They are going to make your vision a reality. Your question marks are your headache ones. Do you take cash from the cash cows because they generate cash in excess of their needs and pump it into the question marks and turn them into stars? Because the truth is that you are going to end up in a high market growth industry. Or do you let them become dogs and sell them off? The dogs, unfortunately, and this is not the SPCA, so those of you that are animal lovers, don't say, I'm a dog lover. You tell me to get rid of my puppy. I'm not telling you to do that. It's the model, okay? You can let them become a dog and sell them to a company where that dog would make sense in terms of their own BCG, okay? And then essentially your cash cows, as I said, generate money in excess of their needs. Have a glance at this. Channel growth. I don't know whether this is accurate. This is slightly dated. So on the basis of this, Vine generates a lot of money, but doesn't require a lot to run. In terms of adverts, this is old style. Oh gosh, look at this is back to front. Okay, sorry, these are the dogs. So these are the things that don't make sense anymore. I don't know why LinkedIn is still around, but I see I get I must have about 30 outstanding invites on LinkedIn, but I'm not part of that generation, guys. Who is on LinkedIn and uses it actively? Do you agree that LinkedIn is a dog or not? I think if you're younger, you would love LinkedIn. Who still listens to the radio? Yeah. Facebook for CEOs. I'm no CEO. I also don't want to be one. Well done, Werner. Okay. Vine, who remembers Vine? Remember they had 7-second videos. Who still listens to radio? I don't even know if you get adverts on radio, to be honest. I don't listen to radio, guys. I became too old for radio in the early 2000s. I remember Grant en Anele. That's all I remember in the era. RSG, jy's 'n lekker Afrikaner, well done. Okay, I don't know. Twitter is not even Twitter anymore. It's X now. So outdoor, I can't remember when last I looked at an outdoor. Okay, advertising Metro, very cool, Pam. Okay, and then Snapchat. I don't even think Snapchat still exists. I don't know. Instagram, who are the Instagrammers here? I see they don't have, I don't even know if you get adverts because I'm not part of it, but TikTok is not on here. Who is Instagram? Anyway, guys, you get the idea there. Instagram, yes. Anyone on TikTok? Pam, have you got a TikTok account where you put videos of you dancing? Werner, what do you do on your TikTok account? Sakkie. Vandag gaan ek julle wys hoe om te sakkie. Langarm. You mark it. Well done, boy. Really well done. Your son does TikTok. What does he do on TikTok, Pam?
He tends to like doing the dance, and then if there's a Spider-Man or some new
How
costume,
many
he likes to do
followers?
that. Yeah,
How old is he?
10, driving me up the wall.
Ek sal vir hom slaan. Oh my gosh, how many followers does he have, Pam?
He's still trying. He's still trying to
Oh,
convince me to go
shame,
on.
man.
Mm-mm.
Shame, man. You need to follow him, Pam. You need to follow him. One of my, I won't give her the exact title, but she's on TikTok. And she has an amazing TikTok account. I don't follow her, but she sends me some of her videos. She is brilliant, brilliant. But she's in her middle to late 30s, and she's one of our senior managers. But it is brilliant, brilliant, brilliant what she does, the editing. Fantastic. Yeah, I'm not on TikTok. As you could imagine, I don't fit there. Imagine me on TikTok.